very glad to be here in Guyana, in CARICOM headquarters, having a very productive meeting with ASG Elizabeth Salomon and her team. And the intention of this visit, it's really about to identify, which are those areas of cooperation to strengthen the partnership between the UN and CARICOM, especially with the focus on youth. What was the core of our conversation? It's how from the institutional space we can create, better spaces for meaningful youth participation, for youth inclusion when it's about decision making. I think that the core of our conversation was, how from these strong regional or global institutions, we can create these bridges to build trust for young people to engage in institutional spaces, but for institutions to trust in young people for their engagement, So of course, I think sometimes we focus on which are the challenges, but I think our conversation today was more about the opportunities that represents the meaningful engagement of young people. We spoke a lot about challenges in relation to mental health and well-being, what's the experience of CARICOM, many things happening in the region, with a strong leadership of young people on that. And we're going to have follow-ups conversation with our teams. This will be one of the focus of our cooperation for the future. At this stage, to learn about what is happening in the region, to share also what is happening in other regions of the world. That's the UN, that's the opportunity that the UN represents also. The UN is composed of 193 countries, 193 member states, and our office has a leading role when it's about how to advance youth issues at this global stage, So mental health was a big focus, and the second one was about the inclusion of young people in the peace and security architecture, I think the whole Latin American and Caribbean region has a big pain, The first cause of death in our region are homicides, That's the first cause of death in young people in our region. And coming from a pain that is coming from young people, that is very connected to the development issue, We cannot see this, dimension without understanding the lack of opportunities and the lack of guarantees and protection of human rights, When we look at the peace and security architecture, we need to connect the dots, And I think it's very clear that there's a pain in our region, that there's many things also, good practices happening, many projects that CARICOM is leading, but also that the UN is being part of them, at country level, trying to bring young people and how through their participation create and make peace building, It's really about how we can build from that. So these are going to be definitely two key areas where we're going to continue to cooperate, to identify, what's those spaces that we can bring CARICOM good experience into the global stage, also the challenges into the global stage, and how we can cooperate better. And that's the intention and that's the direction that our Secretary General, Antonio Guterres, has given us since the beginning, strong cooperation between the UN and CARICOM, and also to continue this with the governments, and with at the center, bringing young people and trusting in young people. I think that was the key outcome of this meeting.